Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to Synchronicity Web TV. I am your host, Nadiya Shah, and this is your moment of synchronicity. Well, I'm so excited to celebrate with you today, Tiffany Harelick. Tiffany is a superstar. I will tell you, you are about to see how much of a superstar she is. And she is all about bringing forward your own understanding of the mystical, psychic, intuitive energy within you. And it is Tiffany who is coming to Synchronicity University with her own 5-week course. This is super exciting. It's all about maximizing your own intuitive powers. And you've got a very limited time left from the time that this is publishing to choose your tuition rate. As always, just $5 a class, which is really an unheard of rate to learn from the one and only Tiffany Harelick. You are about to love this woman. You will see. I just spoke to her for like 5 minutes before we got started, and I'm like, oh my God, I love this woman already. So Tiffany, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you and talk about my favorite topic, which is intuition.
Yeah. And so what do you make of intuition? Because you're teaching a class, it's something that can be developed, but do you think that you also have to be born with it? What are your thoughts on that?
I thank you for asking. How I experience it, right, is that we were born, most of us, with the gift of 5 natural senses, right? Not all of us, but most of us have the gift of these 5 natural senses. And they are physical senses. You can smell, you can see, you can taste, you can hear, you can feel things. All of you have a 6th sense. There's places that we can find that in the birth chart. And so some of us have natural strengths and talents. Some of us were born able to play the piano super easily. Some of us need to practice the scales over and over. But you have it. You have the gift. So you don't have to convince me. You don't have anything to prove. I know that you're psychic and intuitive. And what I love is helping you just find your section of that, like your special gift and talent where you can really understand your gift better. But yeah, that's, I guess, the short version.
Yeah, that's great. And so if I am sitting at home, and I know we just jumped into the actual material, and I think people, of course, are going to get to know you as we're talking as well. But, let's say I don't really have a lot of practice with it, right? What's one thing I could do right now? Like, what's the first thing I could do to just sort of understand that there is something intuitive within me? Like, what is an exercise that maybe I could do or something I might want to understand?
So let me work into that a little bit. We are going to talk about the anatomy of intuition in the 2nd class. And so what is helpful is to understand that your intuition, right, is going to be affected by what you eat, the thoughts you think, the environment that you're in, your quality of sleep. So it's really a holistic experience to have quality intuition, right? You and I, before we started this podcast, we set an intention, and the intention, right, there's a full lesson on brain chemistry that really does prove and encourage you to set intentions. So if you're kind of new to the psychic world and you don't really know where to start, the best thing you can do for your brain, right, to increase dopamine, to increase the vacuum of it actually happening, is to set your intention. And it's very simple. You just write it out, right? Write your name. My name is Tiffany and I'm intuitive, right? And I aim to receive clear, concise, and accurate information in a way that I can understand. You can write your intention for however it is that you want to receive. So sometimes people are a little bit scared when it comes to the intuitive things because they don't want to feel things physically, or they don't want to see things that they don't want to see. And so part of your intention can be setting up healthy boundaries. The second thing that I would say that is super, super critical is your physical health. So we have body-mind connection. Those astrologers out there, you're looking at your 6th house, you're looking at the planet Mercury. Mercury, it rules our nervous system. And so if your nervous system is out of balance because you are in fight, flight, fright, fear, right? You're not making quality decisions, and you're disconnected from that intuitive spark from spirit, right? So I'll use the language of spirit. And so if your gut, brain, heart axis is clogged up, contaminated, toxic, whatever, you're not going to have a clear channel, right? So the simple consideration around nervous system health, it's a big one, right? It's not as easy to just say, well, stop living your life in fear or fright or whatever. It is a huge piece to work through and to work with and to understand, right, that your emotions are actually a language of spirit, right? So sometimes your emotions are because you're feeling something, and sometimes your emotions is because you have a ton of water placements and you're feeling the weight of the world. You're feeling everybody's stuff, or people are coming at you with their stuff. And so there's that discernment. But the physical body, the nervous system, staying hydrated, being a clear channel, for me, right? For me, that includes not drinking alcohol, limiting my sugar intake. For me, that includes, I mean, I still drink coffee every day.
You can have coffee and still be spiritual and intuitive. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Right. And everybody's biochemistry is different. But the physical body doing something for your health to clear your channel is super important. It's very basic, very foundational. And energetic cleansing, or thinking through, like, it's not just physical, but it's an energetic cleansing. If you'll sit down for meditation every day, it will work, right? It will work. It will make you more intuitive. Absolutely. My goal is to do 20 minutes every day of silence. And so I'm not listening to music. I'm not visualizing a flame. I'm not doing anything except watching the thoughts come and go. And sometimes they're a lot. I'm not perfect right, in meditation, but it allows you to train the mind. It allows you to let go of thoughts that are not needed in this moment, right? And so how do you separate yourself from the mind, right? From the yogic perspective, it would be like, I named my mind Mindy. So I give myself a little trick. And so I'm like, thanks, Mindy. I don't need that thought. Or I'll allow myself to place the thought, like, that's a future thought. Don't need it. Thank you so much. Or that's a past thought. Don't need it. Thank you so much. Come back to the breath. And it is a practice. And I don't think you're ever going to get it perfect. But if you will sit down and start your meditation practice, you will be more intuitive. You will notice the synchronicities. And you'll at least still the mind. And that's a healthy thing. It's bathing the mind. Separate of that, right? Separate of that, I like to visualize white liquid light coming down, around, and through me. And so that is like an energetic paintbrush of a cleansing of that is gentle, that feels good. And so you can use your visualization however you are guided to. For me, it's a beautiful white liquid light. It looks like a double helix, like a DNA sequence. And I allow it just to come down through my crown chakra, through my body. I set the intention that it will respin my chakras in divine right alignment and divine right ratio. And that's just language that I've learned and used over the years. But you can keep it super simple, right? You can just put a flashlight visualization at the top of your head, right? Like, there's many things you can do to bathe yourself in cleansing energy. Okay, so that's some of the nuts and bolts of it. But to answer another aspect of your question, what's something that you can do to just get started? My very favorite technique that has bailed me out many times, it's a technique called forced connections. Are you familiar with this one?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Tell me.
So,
yeah.
So forced connections, this is one that when you're first practicing, you feel like you're kind of making it up. And you wonder, was I really intuitive? And so the effort must be put in, right? And the belief has to be there. And you have to jump off the diving board and do a belly flop. You're not going to land it perfectly. But if you keep playing with it, it is an unbelievable, easy practice. Before every intuitive practice, ethically, right? You're not going to read for somebody else. You're asking for information for yourself, right? For your own practice. And you are going to set your intention. So you're going to keep your ethics intact. You're going to set your intention. You're going to breathe information in. And all you're doing is you're looking out. So a question is formed, right? You have a question on your heart. And then you're going to look out into the universe, and your eyes will kind of lock on something. And this is where people second guess themselves, but just go with the first thing that you think you're kind of locking on, right? So I've set my intention to connect with spirit, to receive some information, a message that will bring some kind of hope for my question. So I allow myself to go out. It's a question of time that I'm coming up with right now. My eyes are locking on something outside that is red and green. To me, that indicates the end of December. And so my question is being answered by, okay, it's going to be closer to the end of December for the timing question. This technique is so easy. Anybody can do it at any time, and you will validate for yourself over time. Again, the hardest part is just to try it, right? But you can try it with friends. You can play a game, but if you set your intention and you keep the practice up, you will absolutely wow yourself. You will absolutely develop a relationship with spirit. So another, I think, really key thing when you're working with psychic development and intuition is to know who you're talking to. So would you allow me a quick story that I could share?
Yes, of course. I am so fascinated. I love the things that you are sharing. Just before you share that story and hold it, I just wanted to affirm something you said because, I remember a spiritual mentor of mine sharing with me this acronym, and she said, this is the foundation to any spiritual practice, and it's HALT. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And I have found this to be so true. It is very hard to focus on love and wisdom if I am any of those four things. And especially the tired part. I really need to get enough. I have Mars in my 12th house. I need to get enough sleep. When I don't get enough sleep, oh my God, I'll be very nice to you because I have a modicum of self-restraint. I have a lot of self-restraint, but it is inside. Oh, it's very hard for me to be patient and loving and all of that with people if I'm tired. But yeah, basically if you're tired, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, if you are hungry, eat. If you are angry, well, look at your Mars. What does your Mars tell you about what you need to do to address that anger? If you're lonely, be with other people, communicate with others, online or in person, ideally. And if you're tired, rest. And that can go such a long way. So I love that you started off by talking about that, by taking care of yourself, self-care as the foundation, the basics of self-care, as the foundation for a flourishing, intuitive, and psychic life. I love that you mentioned that. Okay, so I just needed to say that. And yes, please go tell me your story. I love listening to you.
No, I'm happy. Yeah, that's a great underline. So my story is that when you are starting your psychic development, regardless of religion, cultural background, beliefs, upbringing, fears and concerns, right? You are making a connection to a higher power. You're making a connection to a creative force, a creative influence. In my lineage, you can make up that name for God, for creator, for spirit. And so I use the language of spirit because I find it to be welcoming to most people. But whatever you are connecting to, you are developing a relationship with. And so this is important. So early on, I was getting a massage from a friend of mine. Fortunately, she was a woo-woo friend, so it wasn't that weird. But I was kind of going into the space of massage, relax zone. And she said, I lost my wedding ring today. And I was like, don't tell me anything else. Do you want me to try to remote view and find it? And she said, what? Yes. And so I'm, again, face down, receiving, relaxed, safe space, healthy, with a friend. This isn't just some, random massage place. And so I did this remote view. I connected in, and I saw a wedding ring that was in a parking lot. It was, I saw railroad ties. I saw ivy vines along a wall. I saw gravel, and it was in the gravel by the railroad ties. And she said, well, that's possible because I did do an outpatient today, and I did go to a parking lot that looks like you're describing. So she went and picked up her husband because he wasn't going to believe it without her. They drove to the thing. They opened the door. The ring's right where I said it was. Now, this freaked me out. Because who knew? Who knew where that ring was? Not me. I didn't know what her day was like. Not her. But a power outside, an intelligent force that was benevolent and kind, right? And so a big part of spiritual development has to do with faith, right? Jupiter, Neptune, it has to do with believing in something that is beneficial for you, that loves you, that is working on your behalf for good things. And so this little part, right? It was such a trip for me. And I highly encourage all of you that want to develop your senses to be willing to develop a relationship with some kind of higher power, because that's who you're talking to. So that's like one of my very first lessons, if we're training over a longer period of time, is who are you talking to? And if you don't know, that's okay, because you are developing a relationship and it's a give and take. And that's another reason why sitting for meditation and silence is important, because it's not just you asking questions about your physical existence or your purpose or things that you could be looking at your chart for, right? So this is a spiritual language and you receive it differently than I do, which is amazing, right? And every single person here, we are snowflakes. Like we are all formed differently. We have completely different way of receiving. But through the language of astrology, we can find out, what are you naturally good at, right? I have curly hair. I can wear it curly. I can straighten it. I can tie it up in a knot. I can do anything with it, but I'm dealing with this, right? And you are dealing with your own spiritual anatomy. And the chart can show us so much about that. So yeah, that's my little story about who are you talking to. She found the wedding ring, and it was just like the beginning of a really deep and beautiful relationship that I have with spirit. So yeah.
It's incredible, right? How spirit speaks to us in so many ways. And I think of spirit as so connected to something within us. Like some people call it our higher self, but yeah, it's that higher self that's connected to this universal energy, which we can also call spirit. And it comes to us in different ways, right? Some people, they're really visual. So maybe they actually imagine some being, right, who presents themselves like an angel or a goddess or something. And then for other people, it might just be a vibration. It might just be, you were talking about white light and how it cleanses you. That can be an experience of spirit as well. And it's amazing those moments we have, and we doubt them, don't we? Like we have these moments where we feel like we've touched on something, but then something within us says, well, come on now, come on. Like,
Right.
What do you do in those? Why do you think that happens? And how do you address those moments of doubt within yourself?
Those moments of doubt, I think, again, knowing your chart and knowing yourself and knowing your nervous system will help you find your peace and coming back to that physical existence. So when I get an answer that I don't want, right, I'm going to naturally want to doubt it. Standing in faith with something that's very unknown is super tricky. It is developing a spiritual muscle that it takes time, right? It takes wisdom and experience. I'm trying to think of something that I doubted recently and just ignored the doubt anyways. One trick I think I'll give you guys, right, is the body pendulum. And so I think that human design and astrology work really well together to understand your aura type. And so some of us need time to make decisions, right? So it's right to doubt yourself. Some of us don't need time to make decisions. I'm a sacral being, so I need a yes or no question, and I'm going to have a visceral feeling, and that makes my life easy. But we weren't all built that way. Sorry for the bubbles.
No, I love it. I should get a bubble too. Come on now. Come on, Apple. Give me the bubble. Yeah, it's somewhere or other. Yeah. Your bubble, it's really picking it up. It's really on point. So sometimes it picks it up for me, sometimes it doesn't. But okay, you could be the one who is the goddess of the hearts and bubbles and thumbs up for today. Yeah.
Bubble queen. So, okay, so if you guys are doubting yourself,
I love
this
it. Yeah.
may work for some of your designs, but the body pendulum is so great. This is something that your chiropractors may use. This is something that your applied kinesiologists may use with health or medical astrology, things like this. But all you're going to do, you preferably you're standing up, but you can sit up straight and you can take a deep breath. And you'll say your statement, right? You'll say your statement. And you'll either be naturally drawn forward or naturally drawn backwards. You don't want to force it. You kind of want to, that's another plus for meditation. Once you're sitting straight, the heartbeat is going to rock you a little bit. I'm making it pronounced so that for the purpose of conversation. But
I love it.
Right. So if you say first, right, my name is Tiffany, you feel it like inside you're drawn forward. My name is Nadiya. No, it's not. I feel I'm drawing backwards, right? So if I have something that I'm frustrated about, I'm doubting, right? I'm going to give myself a clarifying statement first, but your body is going to naturally show you. Again, standing up is easier. You can do it sitting down, but you will naturally be drawn to that which is true for you. You can program that within yourself. If that's a new practice for you, right? Set your intention, practice it, and let it become a natural thing. This is another funny, I guess, fun visualization practice I'll do is either red light, green light. So just be clear with me. Just give me a red light or a green light. The bless it or block it prayer. Another funny one that I do. I'm from Texas, guys, and I do live in the country, and I love being here. But we have a lot of cattle, and we have plenty of people that have bison. And so, if you guys don't know this about those livestock, in a rainstorm, the cattle will run away from it, therefore prolonging the rain. Right? The buffalo will. What did I do it right? The cattle will run away from it and the bison will run through it. And so to me, it's like, do I keep going to get to the other side or do I hunker down and lay low? In fact, if you're driving through the fields and you see cattle laying down, it's a sign that rain is coming. And so the cattle and bison prayer or the red light, green light, the simple little things, the muscle, the applied kinesiology, what I want to be careful about is that you're not glorifying the self, but that you are developing a relationship with spirit, right? And so spirit does live in you as you. It's like asking a fish to describe the water that it swims in, that whole thing. It's not separate from you, but it's not glorifying the ego or the self. You're accessing a channel of wisdom that is beyond, right? And so those are some simple little things that I guess I do when I'm doubting myself.
Yeah, and that channel is available to anybody. I mean, I know like with what I do, I always like to emphasize that this is a skill. Anybody can learn it. That's actually really important to me because I don't like it when people like set themselves up to be special. And I mean, I've had people over the years say, oh, you're gifted or whatever. Right. And it's like, look, I'm walking the messy path just like anybody else, the human path. And so that's also part of why I'm so passionate about teaching and about presenting other people who teach as well and welcoming students and making these classes accessible is to affirm that these are skills. And you can learn these. These are, I think, personally, a birthright. If you desire to magnify spirit, then that is a path for you. And that is something that can be for you as well with a little bit of intention and a little bit of cultivation. Now, just going back, you said something, bless it or be it. What was it that you said?
So I said bless it or block it. Green light or red light.
So yeah, what do you mean by that? Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, bless it. Show me the synchronicity. Show me the flow. Open the door. Make it available. Let the scheduling be easy. Let it feel good, right? Or block it. Let nothing happen. Let the scheduling not work out. Let the doors close. And let me receive that with grace, right? We don't have to white knuckle it when we get a bunch of no's. We can choose to look for another opportunity, another option. So that bless it or block it is just a really quick, easy prayer. Like, show me the way, let it be in flow. Show me what's a trine. Show me what's a sextile. Yeah. Or show me what needs to stop so I don't waste the hours that could have been useful with other people. Right. Wow. So
What a beautiful prayer. Yeah, like for the highest good of all concerned. Bless it or block it for the highest good of all concerned, for the highest good of my own spiritual path and my own spiritual journey. I think that's going to be my mantra going forward, especially today. I love that thought. So in the little time that we have left, Tiffany, let me ask you about astrological indications. Anything you want to share about that in terms of magnifying psychic and intuitive ability, mystical energy in your life?
I do. Yeah. So I want to, is it okay to go a little bit through the syllabus?
Yeah,
Or,
of course. Of course.
okay,
Please do. Let me see if I can give you multiple participants. That should be able to grant you access. Have a look.
you know what? I just have it in a notes doc, and which I'm happy to share. But what I wanted to talk about really is that the first class we're going to go through planets, houses, and elements. There we go. And as part of that, right, if we're talking about planets and spiritual development, we're also going to talk about placements and a little bit of the aspects. I have a couple of celebrity psychic charts that we're going to go through. And in fact, maybe we could put one of those up before our time is done here. But the planets and spiritual development, you've learned, you guys know the planets, right? You're here not for an introductory to astrology course. You're here to understand how these planets are going to work for you in terms of spiritual development and for your clients, right? So of course we're going to talk about Neptune in the 10th house. Of course, that's if you have a Mercury Neptune conjunction, right? That's another one that can really blend spirit into the mind. But what element is that in? I think, the discussion that we're going to have on elements is also going to be really helpful and enticing to some of you guys. When we think about like the fire sign, so let's say that you've got some of the mystical placements in a fire sign, right? This is going to be, you're going to need to walk around. You're going to need to feel that impulse. You're not going to really feel comfortable sitting still in meditation. Maybe you need a walking meditation. You're going to want to manage some of your impulsiveness, right? In terms of the earth signs, these are people that feel things more in their bodies in a physical, material way. And so we want to learn about that. We have the layers of the aura, right? Many layers of the aura. The etheric layer is that one that's right around our bodies. As you go out, more layers out, there's the etheric template. And so when spirit is making contact with you, and sometimes some of you have the stories, oh, I felt a brush, I felt a whatever up against me, and that scared me. It's not touching you. It's the etheric template, which is a mirror of your etheric part of your layer of your aura. And so knowing that, right? Knowing that is going to help some of those earth sign placements manage that and understand it, or set the intention to not experience it that way and to lean into something else with your sensory awareness. We can talk about air and water, but I also want to touch base that this is a symphony, and I'm teaching you how to play a little flute, a little guitar, a little drum, a little piano. Some of you guys are going to master it all and be these amazing conductors of orchestral information, right? Some of you are going to be like, oh, this is my one right here. This is the one that I've got. And you're going to be the best one of that you've ever seen. And so just know that we're practicing the basic chords. And some of us have more, and some of us have a more specific focus. In terms of the air sign, these are the air placements where we have a knowing, right? It's the swords, it's the mental realm. We just know things. It's where we can focus on brain chemistry and the studies about the different brain waves that occur when you are connected to spirit. In terms of the water signs, right, you think naturally, yes, there's intuition there, and naturally there's a connection. Water is a conduit for energy, and so we want to also manage some of our emotional boundaries there. Okay, let me see if I can pull up this cool chart.
So just as you're pulling that up, you mentioned water, fire, air, and earth. Just touch on earth so that everybody feels like they got their mention in.
So earth is the one that is in the body, so the physical body, right? And so if you have a lot of earth placements, that's where I went on my tangent about the aura, because you are probably feeling things in your gut, right? Like it's a gut knowing, or it's an actual physical feeling, right? These are the people that wake up and just know, like, it's in their body, right? Something's wrong, or they physically feel sick when they walk into a room, or they physically feel excited because something beautiful and wonderful has happened there. But you will have a physical experience. And I love to work with earth sign placements when we're doing psychic development, because you guys, with a few little gifts, you are going to feel safe, secure, calm, comforted in your bodies, in your physical experience. Spirit is going to work with you through any capacity to get you a message if you want one, right? If you want a relationship with Spirit and you want to receive messages, there are just ways that are going to be easier for Spirit to access you. Just because you're gifted at playing the piano doesn't mean you have to choose it. You can say, hey, I want to play guitar. Talk to me through guitar. So this is the earth sign placements. I think the tendency to be scared of this work comes when you're having a physical experience or something that scares you. And so I really look forward to working with you guys to give you just a few simple tricks to make it safe and fun for you to learn the language of Spirit. You already have a feel for the language of astrology, right? And the language of Spirit is just working through those different lenses. It's almost like we have these different periscopes. All of us have something in all of the signs, right? And for the most part. And so it is learning to turn the earth lens off and the air lens on, or learning to access your spiritual hearing versus your spiritual tasting. Your spiritual hearing, we're going to fine tune by listening to music and isolating different senses. And so isolating these physical senses, isolating the metaphysical senses is what strengthens them. So you can get into these psychic circles or development groups and just strengthen those muscles all year long, or you can like work one-on-one with somebody and really fine tune what you got going on, as opposed to training for the whole symphony.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of earth placements, Edgar Cayce. Let's have a quick look at Edgar Cayce. You are so amazing. You're so exceptional. I love how you're just explaining everything so brilliantly. But yeah, Edgar Cayce, legendary, right? Legendary spirit worker, psychic person, very special. What can you tell us here?
Well, I wanted to just look at it from a spiritual development point of view. Uranus, right? The Einstein, aha, information through the skies, all of a sudden, change maker, rebel, eccentric. That was Edgar Cayce in his time, right? We're talking about the late 1800s, early 1900s. He's got Uranus here at the 12th house, the house of secrets, the house of spiritual redemption, the house of the psychic. And he's got this Einsteinian type placement here in Leo, which is the star of the show. So of course he's going to rise to the occasion of his life as the celebrity who's a little bit or a lot, right, different than the norm. And he has access to the 12th house, right, the mysteries that we don't all see. And so that is a really interesting placement right off the bat. The other thing you notice, guys, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Pisces placements, right? Pisces placements in my practice with those who have been drawn to work with me, a lot of the feedback that I get is that I was born in the wrong era, right? And so I was born in the wrong era. I was born in a different time. And so the Pisces placements have this ability to kind of time travel in their soul, right? Is my experience in my practice. His North Node is there. So he's the ability to be in any time, to travel to any era, to be the drop of water in the whole ocean. And so this is somebody who has a high level of conduit, making up words.
Perfect
conduit.
word. Yeah. Conduits. Yeah.
I'm like,
exactly.
Connectivity, conduit. What can I do with it? And then talking about the earth sign stuff, right? If you think about Neptune in Taurus. And so receiving spirit in his body as a visceral, physical experience of time traveling. Once again, the 9th house, traveling. The moon in Taurus, just knowing that he knows. having no doubt, really, having a concreteness to it. Pluto in Taurus up here, right at his midheaven, here to change the world, right? With his visionary thinking, way of loving people, way of communicating with people, way of loving spirit. This is somebody who could have done anything with his life, but was built to be a messenger from another plane, from another existence. And so he gave us many, many messages from another world, from a metaphysical place. So this is the kind of fun stuff we're going to look at. Did you guys know he was born in Kentucky? I didn't.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
But this is kind of the stuff that we can go through. We can look at your charts. We can look at other famous psychic charts, and we can look that this way you're going to not only help yourself learn your psychic gifts and abilities, but really help your clients too, right? Give them the gift of intuition. One thing I want to make sure we touch on, Nadiya, is why is it important to do this, right? Why is it important to understand your intuition and the way that spirit connects with you uniquely? To me, it's like, we should have learned that back in grade school or home economics or something. Like, this is such an important life skill. As we are discussing this, Jupiter's in detriment in Gemini. The Neptune is at the tail end of Pisces. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of chaos. Spirit does not come to you in the form of chaos and confusion. Spirit does not come to you in the form of fear and distortion. Okay. And so this is where you can get scared away from understanding your own natural ability to connect with spirit, to connect with your intuition. And so there's a lot of propaganda. There's a lot of news to discern from. There's a lot of, there's more information than we've ever had access to. And so for you to just go straight to the source, which lives inside you as you, right? This is why it's so important, because we're not going to get less information. We're not going to get clear pathways, right? And so once you understand how to resonate with that information, that is really coming true for you through synchronicities, through signs, through the understanding your spiritual nature, right? It's just going to give you confidence and optimism and clarity for the road ahead. So I wanted to make sure we got that in.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, you can see, everybody, how exceptional Tiffany is. And Tiffany is coming to Synchronicity University with her own 5-week course, helping you to magnify your mystical and psychic and intuitive powers and so much more. You're going to learn a lot. I mean, just me talking to Tiffany here for this short time, I feel like I learned a lot. I can only imagine all that I'm going to learn over 5 weeks. I'm really excited about it. And as this interview is publishing, you've got just a few days left to choose your tuition rate, as low as just $5 a class, to learn from Tiffany, all this stuff and so much more. Tiffany, thank you. I really, really loved getting to know you. I love all the energy that you bring, all the wisdom that you bring. And I know that myself and so many others are going to be really excited to learn from you. So thank you again for being here.
Oh, it is my pleasure. It is my honor. And I'm so excited to work with all of you. So I look forward to seeing you at Synchronicity University, guys.
Well, thank you again, Tiffany. And thank you, everybody out there, for watching. Until we connect again, take care. Bye.